Hi, it's Joe Mazumdar from Exploration Insights at the Metal Investment Forum at PDAC 2019 in Toronto. And beside me, I've got Ewan Downie, CEO of Premier Gold. Ewan, so you originally started off, and still are, exploration geologist, but now you're running a junior producer. How has that changed in terms of how you think of things?
I think we thought of it as, like you said, we did start as an exploration company. We're one of the few companies who has made the transition to producer, but as an explorer, you're consistently issuing paper or shares in order to generate the cash each year, and our company had been around for around a decade and decided if we were going to survive long term as a company, we had to change our strategy from being exploration only to production, and set out to make some acquisitions. We were successful in making 2 key acquisitions that were with the result of that was us now being a producer, and we have several projects in development as we speak.
So you purchased a Mercedes asset, which is a low sulfidation epithermal gold-silver deposit, underground deposit in Mexico from Yamana, 100%, and you've had some issues with it last year, and I believe those are resolved now?
Yeah, for the most part, we've got the mine running back to where it was when we first bought. The first year, it was quite smooth. However, when we acquired the project from Yamana, they drilled off 2 new deposits, started developing one, hadn't reached ore. We took over, completed the development of both those deposits, and the main one, which makes up the majority of our reserves today, Diluvio. When we got underground and drifted into it, we found that some of the geometry in the zone was different than was interpreted from the surface drill program. So in the first half of 2018, we shut down all production in that zone, which resulted in our production to drop significantly and our costs to go up. And we did about 10,000 meters of underground drilling, had to implement some long hole mining that we didn't have there previously, and brought the project that deposit into the production in the third quarter of last year, and our costs have subsequently come down, and we'll see another subsequent drop in Q4 when we release our results. So the mine is working better, but the real prize for us is the Marianas zone that's situated on strike from the main trend. And we are currently just started the underground drilling there. We're drifting into that zone, which appears to be much higher grade than the current reserves. And we should be doing about 20,000 meters of drilling in 2019, moving it into reserves, and hopefully in the mine plan in 2020. And then we should really see stabilized operations with the additional working phases that will provide greater flexibility.
So something that was helping you a lot, obviously, with your cost profile was the South Arturo. You have 40% of that project, and I believe when it was operating, it was one of the lowest cost operations globally.
Yes,
is that correct?
It was a great operation.
And this is, Premier is the only non-Newmont, non-Barrick company that owns land in the Carlin Trend.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And so what are we seeing going forward now with South Arturo?
Yeah, South Arturo, we mined the phase 2 pit, where we have 3 phases of open pit mining plan, phase 1, 2, and 3. We built phase 2 first. It was a high grade plus 5 gram open pit in 2017.
Plus 5 gram open pit.
Yeah, it was about 5.2 grams. It reconciled, and the costs on that were amongst the lowest anywhere in the world, and subsequently in 2017 we were one of the best performing gold stocks on the TSX, and we depleted that mine in 2017. We were still doing a little bit of stockpile processing, but production dropped significantly, and our shares seem to drop with that dip in production. However, we are constructing an high-grade underground mine at about 10 grams per ton, and another high-grade open pit as we speak. We should see first production from the underground late this year, and likely the phase 1 pit coming online in 2020. So we see significant increase coming our way from South Arturo, and we expect it to be very low-cost production again.
And so you also have ground right to the north of South Arturo that you acquired on a 100% basis, is
yes.
That right?
Yeah, we identified, surprisingly, a little piece of ground right in the core area that Barrick or Newmont didn't own. And we were able to make an option deal to acquire that. We're acquiring 100%. We should be drilling there coming up. But as you stated, the joint venture in this piece of ground, we're entirely surrounded by Barrick and Newmont. And with all the fireworks going on, if that deal does happen, we'll be the only company left in the Carlin Trend with not under whatever happens with the Barrick
Now, for our
transaction.
viewers to understand, South Arturo is just a hop, skip, and a jump from Gold Strike.
Yes, it's immediately north of it. The mine is operated by the Gold Strike mine team. The mine fleet is equipment that they shift back and forth, so it's a satellite deposit to Barrick's largest mine, which is Gold Strike. And it is all of our ore is processed at the Gold Strike facility. So
And what's interesting, because when I was there, I mean, all these talk about artificial intelligence lowering operating costs, making things more productive. Autonomous trucks are being applied right now to, I believe, phase 3?
Phase 1.
Phase 1.
Yeah,
Okay.
so phase 1 is being set up to be Barrick's first mine in North America. I believe the first hard rock mine all of North America that is currently using an entirely autonomous trucking fleet. We are calling it a test, so we are cautious on saying it's going to be autonomous for everyone and ensure that it works right, the costs are lower as hoped, and then we'll go ahead with the full mine plan. If it doesn't work quite as hoped, we'd probably go back to manned trucks eventually, but so far it's looking pretty good on the test side, and we're pretty optimistic that it will continue and it will bring costs down. So it's pretty exciting innovation that we're participating in with Barrick right now.
So right now, going forward, I believe you'll release your financials next week, is that correct?
Yeah, next week is fourth quarter financial results to be released, and you'll see our costs. Mainly Mercedes is our core part of production now, and we just put out guidance for the project. We're expecting it to do sort of 18 to 22,000 ounces a month is what Mercedes we expect it to produce now going forward. And when we bring on Marianas, we hope that with the increase in grade, assuming it works out as hoped, we will see probably production go up slightly starting in 2020.
And the South Arturo projects, which one will come on first?
The El Nino underground mine is
Q4.
Yeah, we're expecting some processing in Q4. We've been told by Barrick that mining underground may actually be bumped forward from what they were initially looking at, because the development of the ramp has been going faster than originally planned.
So I know Barrick's pretty keen because they're pushing development on not only El Nino, but also on phase 1, and they're also talking about a heap leach project. You have a good working capital position, but you also added a bit of cushion just recently.
Yeah, the cushion was we are well financed to fund the El Nino and the phase 1 pit, but should Barrick, right now we've guided that if we make a decision on the heap leach, which would start construction next year, we don't have sufficient financing to do all 3 at once, or we didn't have sufficient financing. So we recently added on a revolver and an additional $18 million US in cash to our balance sheet to really make sure that we were in a good position to do all 3 should Barrick give us a call and say, we're going to start that heap leach. We wouldn't be scrambling to have the money, and I think some of the market assumed that we're talking about this heap leach. If it goes ahead, you guys don't have enough money, so I hope we've put that to rest now.
And finally, I mean, not only we were talking about developing, producing, now get back into your roots about exploration, you're doing that at Cove McCoy right now as well, and you've got a joint venture with Barrick around that Cove property, I believe.
Yeah, our biggest exploration project this year will be at Cove, most of it on the Barrick JV. So we have a 1.6 million ounce, 11 plus gram deposit that we own 100% of, and all the ground around it Barrick is currently earning in. And this year's drill program, for pure exploration, our company will be the largest exploration program, and we are pursuing developing the Cove deposit, potentially starting the underground development later this year. So we've got, if you look at our pipeline, we've got perhaps up to 4 near-term development projects that should significantly increase our production profile in the coming years.
Thanks. It's Joe Mazumdar of Exploration Insights at the Mineral Investment Forum in Toronto, PDAC 2019. Thank you very much.